said you were originally from Washington, D.C.
Yeah, my name's Kenny P. I'm originally from Washington, D.C. I left home when I was like barely 17 because I had a lot of stupid stuff that kind of happened to me early on, and I had to grow up really early, and so I was kind of young and naive about things, and my mom was kind of like, you won't survive without my money, and in Washington, D.C., being the skin color that I am, you usually either die, you're in prison, or you're in a gang, and I'm none of those things, partially because really, in itself, I'm not really the color that I look to be. I'm really just a white guy, like in the skin right here. I mean, I'm lots of things. Because I never really fit into anywhere. So when you don't fit anywhere, you have to make your own way and be okay with whatever decisions you make. Is go with it and be confident enough to survive. You know, because I mean, I'm not white, I'm not black, I'm not Hispanic, I'm not straight, I'm not gay. I'm not any of them, but I'm all of those things all at one time. So because of that, it can be pretty solitary. And luckily for me, everywhere I go, there I am. And I learned to crack myself up and give myself laugh at things that make you just so mad, like why is this happening? And you want to just scream and yell and beat someone down or something, but that's not really going to help. You know, and if you can't stop, laugh a little bit. Look at how absurd the actual situation is, and how there's no reason for any of this to be the way it is. Like even like this whole world the way it is right now. The fact that I'm on a planet that, if one were to believe in God or whatever, was given to all of humanity. All of us own the whole entire planet as a whole. Each one of us owns 100% of the planet. Who paid Donald Trump, these other people that bought these lands? Who sold them the land? Because God didn't get the money, and we all own all the land. So there's not a reason for us not to be able to sit, sleep, stand, shelter on the public sidewalks, because we all pay taxes one way or the other, whether it's retail sales tax or sales tax because you work or we own property. Everyone's paying tax. And like in Denver, where we can't stop, rest, sleep, stand anywhere on public sidewalks, and we can't do it on private land because we get hauled off. It's a, where are you supposed to go? You know, there's no reason. There's no reason for some of the crap that kind of goes on. And that being said, sometimes we hurt ourselves. I mean, I've done a lot of different drugs, a lot of different ways, every way that you can imagine. But I have to keep reminding everyone, I didn't get this way on my own. I don't know anybody that was in high school that said to their guidance counselor, you know what, when I grow up, I want to be a prostitute. I want to be a drug dealer. I want to be a heroin user in the alley somewhere. No one did that. And it's only because that the stuff that we as humans put upon each other for profit, for personal gain, for whatever reasons we do it, we have to have an escape, otherwise you would go mad. That's why I started doing drugs in the first place. And then I learned how to do them in a way that not going to make me go crazy like some people kind of go off. Not that I don't go crazy at times, or that I'm not crazy, but I at least can control and mask it and act normal. At least I try to do.
You mentioned to me earlier that you've been struggling with schizophrenia for quite some time, amongst other things. Now, how does that contribute to your drug habit? Are you using the drugs as an escape from that?
Sometimes it can go both. It cuts both ways. Sometimes, depending on the drug, like heroin. I mean, heroin is a makes you go to sleep. I call them being naughty or naughty boy. So it's kind of hard to have people tell you anything when you're sleeping, because in your dream world you can fly, you can do anything you want. So really boils down to doing crack, cocaine, and meth, basically primarily, will drive you nuts because it's already affecting your auditory and your visual senses. For me, it's a little different because when I was like 16 is when I got a concussion the first time and things started changing for me. And at first I heard things that were people telling me crazy stuff, like to do violent stuff against other people or do violent stuff against stuff. And I had to learn that those weren't really people here in front of me. I don't know if they really exist. I haven't even tried to bother doing that. All I do know is that I have to stop them from making me look different than everybody else because it's not going to help me. So when I start doing meth, sometimes I do see the gargoyles and the shadow people, and there are gang stalkers that have fucked with me and tried to make me think that I'm going to go crazy. And unfortunately, because I'm already schizophrenic, they have a harder time because I can tell they're real compared to the stuff that's out there. I've already had enough training long before them, you know? So it's a little different, you know? But I know lots of friends that can't do that. And they do go crazy. I mean, they go a little bonkers, you know? And I get hung up and stuff.
No. That's terrible that you experience those voices that that are harmful to yourself and to others. Are they persuasive? Do you ever find yourself succumbing to it?
There are times where I've come, like I was gonna, I have succumbed to them at times. But a lot of times they only persuade me to do the opposite of what they want to do because I can't let them win. And if they want me to do that, then that must mean that that's not the right thing to do because no one tells you the right thing to do. They only tell you the wrong things to do. And if you listen to what they're telling you, then you'll end up doing the wrong things, thinking it's the right thing to do because you guessed it, you know what I mean? Again, it's one of those, you gotta chart your own course and figure out how to be okay with however the outcome is. You know, good, bad, or indifferent.
You mentioned to me about you have a pretty strict moral code that you live by. Both I and Robot. You want to talk about that and how that plays into what you hear?
Well, it started off like when I was younger, I've been abused sexually, physically, and mentally. So lots of times the only way to stay grounded, so to speak, is to kind of put myself in logic, like Spock and Commander Data. But I came across a guy named Isaac Asimov. And Isaac Asimov is a professor. He's unfortunately dead. I cried when he died. In Massachusetts, he's also a book writer. He created the positronic brain, the word, and he created Commander Data before Star Trek Enterprise was ever around. That's what they're trying to make when they did that. And I've come to kind of believe that I'm an android. I'm not really alive. I just think I'm alive. But robotics have like laws. Like first law, don't let a human being come to harm through action or inaction. Rule number 2, always listen to what a human being says unless it conflicts with rule number 1. And rule number 3 is self-preservation unless it conflicts with rule number 2 or rule number 1. But I'm a human, so I can't have robotic laws. But I modified them so that they're kind of, those 3 easy laws, they're pretty easy at times, not all the time. You know, try not to purposely go out maliciously and do harm to another human being, do action or inaction. You see someone getting beat up, is that how you want to be treated? No. Help them out. You know, and rule number 2, always try to please another human being. But remember, I'm human too, so that means I gotta please me sometimes too. Not to be selfish or stuck there, you know, it's not all about me, but I deserve to have some solace and some comfort food, you know, and to laugh and to cry and to feel emotions, because otherwise, what's the purpose of the human experience if you don't get to experience the experience because you're so busy working, trying to survive, trying to keep shelter over your head, trying to keep everyone from talking to you or treating you like you're not even there. you know? And then, of course, self-preservation is easy. So I just modified it to be like that for myself.
Really commendable system for treating people. Now, how does that differ from how you're treated and how you wish that you would be treated?
It can be a double-edged sword because, of course, me being human and having emotions, and I go out of my way to think about other people. You know, from when I'm opening the door for somebody, if I see someone coming down the sidewalk and I'm kind of in the way, you know, it's like any of that kind of stuff. But the flip side, when they don't treat me with respect and they will shut the door in my face, as a skateboarder, they see me and they walk right toward me. And then this one lady, she was yelling at me because she's like, "You can't be skating on the sidewalk." And I'm like, "Why not? I pay taxes. The sidewalk is for everyone to use for transportation. I know it says sidewalk, but we drive in the parkway and park in the driveway. So it doesn't really matter what you call it. You know, it's all about courtesy. And I can drive. I mean, believe it or not, I'm 50 years old. I've been out on the street since I was 18, and I still skateboard. I just got back to skateboarding. I'm not going to stop now. You know, it's one of my escapes actually. When things get too overwhelming for me, for where I'm at, and people sometimes drive me nuts. Like I really sometimes want to just take their arm off and beat them with a bloody pulp with it. And me being Irish, I have to keep my temper down. And being easily excitable, lots of things to try to convey in a short period of time, and realizing that the vocal hearing can't hear as fast as I can talk. You can't understand. If I talk the full steam like a New Yorker would say, you have a hard time. So I have to kind of slow it down, and that makes it hard for me sometimes.
How do you think that you could be helped out here in the biggest way?
How I hope that I do help other people is, number one, I try to be the neutral party with all the people that I know, because I know a lot of people. I've been out in the streets for a long, long time, and I transverse a lot of areas, and I've seen conflicts between like gang thugs and transgender or gay people, or the young and the old, and I try to stand in the middle if I'm put in that place, and listen objectively and try to logically. I'll be on both people's sides and just say, look, we're at the end of the day. Plus, I try to be a resource. I learn as much as I possibly can, because some people have skills. If you want to call it this, boost and return. Go steal something, then you get somebody to go return it, then you convert that into a gift card, then you convert a gift card into cash and or drugs, which we're really trying to get to at the end of the day, one of those two things. And so I can't steal because I just can't do it. It's not my thing. But I am intelligent and I can remember certain systems. So I help other people try to navigate to get housing, to try to get their Social Security card. I've always got technology on me. I'm a computer geek guy, so I'll help somebody get their rebate check or their stimulus check. Things they don't know because they just haven't had the experience. And I've been grateful enough to put myself through college, because that's one of the things I tried to do when I was homeless with no place to go. At the time, there were no shelters really, except for adult shelters, and I was way underage and I didn't want to be there. So I learned I could go to school, go back to college. In fact, I went 3 times to try to get myself out of there. And to be honest with you, I think that I'm no further along than I was when I started at 18. I'm just as trapped now as I was then, just in different ways. Because when I'm homeless and out on the streets, I'm free. I don't have to worry about anything. And if I chose to go and disturb other people, they really can't stop me. I can be as obnoxious as I want to, and their common decency is going to prevent them from doing anything against me, but I can sure cause them harm and aggravation. But that's not really what I want to be, So trying to figure out how, like, now I finally have like a permanent kind of place to be somewhere. If I can just keep the rent paid and stuff. But that's a trap because now I'm vulnerable again. Now it's a different gang called the police. Those are the new gangs that come in and they act like they're my friends, but they're never my friends. They've never done a single thing to ever help me. They've done the opposite. I've had them take on me in alley rides. I've had them beat me with batons. I've had them treat me like I'm wrong for saying I have the right to speak. And the response is, well, you got to remain silent. Everything you use can be used against you. Well, use what I'm going to say against me. I live in America and I happen to know something about the law. And I know that you don't work in the judicial branch of government. You work under the executive branch of government, which means you're supposed to enforce laws. You're not the judge and juror. You don't get to punish me. That's not what it is. And even if you saw me commit a crime, are we not innocent till proven guilty? But unfortunately today we're all guilty and even if we prove ourselves innocent, we're still guilty. I'm guilty of being homeless. I'm guilty because I go into the store and steal some donuts because I'm starving to death and I have no money. And they want to yell at me for that. And I understand the flip side of that. They're business, trying to make things. But guess what? Making 25% more for the shareholders next year is not the real goal of life. That's something that somebody else made up that has nothing to do with us growing as a human being. We're all here together as one and not what it was, like not what they want us to be. That's the problem, in my personal opinion, how it is, It's nonsense. I live in a place, I look out and I see my friends in tents and they are dying or they're getting sick. And I have a lot of space around me that's vacant that I can't even help the closest of my closest friends. Why? Unfortunately, because the Coalition for the Homeless, they're the ones who have this policies that's keeping us apart from each other, Again, the divisions I think in my opinion, the divisions have to stop. And someone somewhere has to realize that whether they're black, white, straight, gay, trans, tall, short, whatever, that we all have the right to exist and we need to be treated like a human being. I'm not a second-class citizen, I'm a citizen. I was born in Washington, D.C., our nation's capital, and I'm just as intelligent and bright as a lot of every individual. Everybody has their own spark. It may not be computers like me. Some people good with sports. Some people are good with hands and cars. I mechanically can't even work an automatic can opener, but I can design a network if you have I can ride a skateboard, and I fear that humanity's kind of lost itself, trying to be something it doesn't even know what it wants to be. It makes them feel better because they can get in their car and they can go home, and yeah, it's convenient because I realize you have to have a kid, your wife and family, but you don't have to do it at the expense of everybody else on the planet, and that's about it,
Seems like you have a firm grasp on helping others. What do you think is step number one in getting you back on your feet, helping you?
Well, I can't think about just myself because I'm just an individual, and what I want sometimes and what I need are two different things, and so as long as I can get the things that I need and understand the things I want are just that, things I want, that's okay. But the thing I think everybody here, like in Denver, one of the biggest things is housing and trying to get everybody housed. And the people that run the housing places here are so busy trying to keep us from doing I don't know what that they don't allow anyone to be themselves, and they're too busy trying to, I don't know what they're trying to do, but whatever they're doing is not working, because if it was, we would not have the tent cities moving around the way they are. We wouldn't have cops going up slashing people's tents and treating people like they're the scum of the earth, telling people in the cold, why don't you go someplace else when they know goodness well you have no place to go? You know?
Yeah, unless any more questions, Brad or Adam.
Only thing else I just want to say, you know, and I say this to everybody that will listen to me, because to me it sounds like maybe if I say it enough, people will realize. Basically, 20 weeks ago, most of the people in downtown Denver, and I've been them people, and I've been me, they wouldn't even talk to me. They would spit on me if they had a chance. They walk past me when they see me sitting there freezing my behind off, going, oh my God, I'm so cold, I have no jacket, or I really have no shoes at times. They don't care about me. So then the coronavirus thing comes along, and the people are, with good reason, trying to get everyone to wear masks. But, you know, the whole line of, let's wear a mask to protect everybody else. These people did not want to protect me 20 weeks ago. They could care less about me. So if it wasn't for my own humanity and my morals, I wouldn't wear a mask, because I'd be like, why would I want to wear a mask? You're not going to help me. You didn't want to help me before. Why do you want my help now? You know? So I think everyone should just think about that and realize that every time we cut each other down, we're really hurting ourselves. Because if we live in the United States of America, then united we stand, and divided we will fall. And right now we're all being divided into haves and have-nots. And who has this, what someone looks like, what their agenda is, even the ones that sometimes can annoy people have the right to exist, you know, just as I do.
Thank you.
Thank you guys.
Thank you for speaking for me.
I'm not speaking for you, I'm speaking for me,
I know,
for
but it's-
everybody else. And
You feel
have
the
your
same?
you have the right to have your own opinions. You know, and from one human to another, I love you just as much. I may sometimes get annoyed with you. I may not like you sometimes, but guess what? We don't have to like each other to be human and to be loving toward each other.
Right.
You know?
I always say that. I'm like, I love you. Like, we're not gonna get in a fight. I'm like, I love you. Because I do. I do.
I'm affectionate to people. Love is a strong word. I don't know that I even know what love is, because love is, you know, some dude, you know, rubbing you somewhere, or is it, you know, some party, you know, saying something nice about me.
Love is change.
Love is, I don't know what love is, you know?
Love, we're learning.
And
Because God is love.
I would
Right?
say that from a
Love.
scientific standpoint, no emotion we have is real.
Depends on where
I
God
find
is.
myself looking like I'm in like a little movie theater,
Aw.
and the movie theater has
That's why
bathrooms. I
I'm
go to the
not-
bathroom, but I can never leave the movie theater. I can
Yes.
only see the world through what's on the screen, and I can smell the smells that come through, but it's all an illusion. If they can, in the hospital,
No,
shoot
it's
me with
not.
something and I taste like it's on my
That's
mouth,
artificial, that's the lie.
then
That's the
everything
lie.
is not
That's
real.
right.
It's all fake. You know? Let's make it real.